now, the best and only wrestling podcast out of Council Bluffs, Iowa. Get Slammed with Crawdaddy and the Get Slammed Predictions Champion, the LumberJake. Welcome to episode 2 of Get Slammed. Crawdaddy and the LumberJake here.
Champion LumberJake.
No, we got to talk about that. We tied.
I won the tiebreaker with the Sasha Banks interference. So I am champion. The greatest of all time. Champion. And I'm going to tell you right now. I got this thing around my waist and it's never leaving. Okay? It's never leaving.
Well, you know, only because WrestleMania is around the corner and we're going to have a hell of a show, and that's when I'm going to take that home with me again. Yeah, well, for the first time, but yeah, that's when I'm taking. That's when I'm taking it. So yeah, you know what? I will let you have that tiebreaker because yes, you did predict that Sasha would get involved. But
so anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Sorry we've been away. Sean's been on vacation. I've been on vacation. So now we're back. We're gonna give
Colorado, man.
Well, and by vacation I mean I just didn't want to do it alone. So he went to Colorado. I went to KC the weekend before that. So
yeah,
we've been gone,
and there's been a lot happening in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, a lot outside of wrestling as well. With Paige, and of course we'll talk about that. Everybody else has talked about it, but we'll talk about it. And I think the implications of that situation and. Hell, let's get into it.
I also want to talk about. I didn't bring this up beforehand, but I would like to talk about Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Did you?
I haven't watched that yet.
Oh my god!
Everybody else has watched it. I need to watch it.
It is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I've heard it's really funny.
Yeah.
So good on WWE for making something funny.
You know what? We won't talk about that until after you watch it. So watch it, do your research, and we'll continue it next time.
Yeah. So how was Colorado, by the way?
Oh, beautiful, you know, beer, other stuff. Let's continue.
Yeah, breweries. I need to go to... Did you go to Odell?
No, I went to New Belgium.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I knew a buddy of mine went to the Odell one, said it was really cool. So I need to go to that one and the New Belgium one.
Oh, New Belgium is amazing.
I didn't know you were into craft beer.
Oh, I love craft beer.
Oh, man. We need to talk about that more. I could do a whole podcast about IPAs if I had time.
Well, let's
let's talk about wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Yeah. So I guess we'll start it off. I think this is something cool. So the Broken Hardys, we haven't done the show in about 3 weeks. They went to Ring of Honor and they won the ROH tag team titles from the Young Bucks.
So now they have probably every tag team championship imaginable except for the Raw and SmackDown tag team.
Well, or New Japan, they were stripped of the TNA, but they still say they never lost those.
Technically, they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
They vacated him, so.
Yeah. But even bigger news, the Hardys were actually finally offered the contract to WWE.
Are there actually... I know they probably don't disclose this, but do they know how much they were getting offered or anything like that?
No. Normally they don't disclose that. The big thing about that is, though... What are they going to come back as? Because right now TNA and the Hardys are in a legal dispute over who owns
the likeness
of the broken gimmick.
Honestly, and the first episode we talked about that, how they could do honestly either and be over, mostly because they started their career there in WWE and they were huge in WWE. I think they could do either. I think wrestling fans are going to want the broken gimmick,
especially if they could go against the Wyatts.
But there are a lot of WWE fans out there that strictly only watch WWE, strictly only care about WWE, so they probably don't even have any idea what the whole broken...
The casual fans.
They don't know the whole broken Matt Hardy thing. They don't know the whole Brother Nero storyline or any of that. So I could see having issues. Honestly, I think they could do either one. I think they should do the broken one, because they can strike while the iron's hot, stay relevant that way. At the same time, They can come back just as the Hardys, but they seem to have more fun being Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah, well...
what do you think?
Well, here's the thing about that. I think if they can come back and work the Broken gimmick, if Vince can give them a little bit of creative control, I think they'll do that in a heartbeat. But here's the thing. WWE is not going to allow them to do that if TNA is going to try to sue them. Well, but at the same time, Rebby Hardy, got on a Twitter rant and also said, also agreed with a fan who said...
That's Matt's wife, right?
Yep. Also agreed with a fan who said, WWE's lawyers could easily take down TNA's lawyers.
WWE would crush TNA.
Or, excuse me, Impact Wrestling.
WWE would crush Impact in a court battle. They would destroy them. I don't know. So would you rather see Broken?
I would,
gimmick,
actually.
Or would you rather...
Here's the reason why. It's because nobody's ever really taken their gimmick, at least in today's wrestling, from one promotion to another in this kind of capacity. I mean, obviously, the Broken Hardys, I think they've gone to, obviously, they've been in Ring of Honor. They've gone to these other smaller promotions. They might have even gone to New Japan. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But... all I know is that it's really interesting if they would bring, a huge over gimmick from one promotion to another, and how are they going to, let that fly without mentioning their rival promotion?
Yeah, because WWE doesn't acknowledge Impact at all.
Nope. They have a little bit on the network. Daniel Bryan, obviously not giving a crap.
Yeah, he does not care. He will always reference...
but
sorry, I got to take the belt off. I'm sitting down now. So. It's so heavy.
You keep that warm.
So heavy being champion. Anyway. It's interesting because they never acknowledge Impact because they rightfully so, they think Impact is a lesser than promotion.
And they are. I mean, it's not like back in the 90s where WCW was actually, a threat, and they constantly mention WCW, Eric Bischoff, and all of them.
Well, because they own it.
Well, no, I meant before that.
Oh, yeah. They would take direct shots at each other.
Yep.
I think it's interesting, too, because you could almost... And, history repeats itself, and wrestling especially, they reuse gimmicks and storylines all the time. I think it would be brilliant to do, like the WCW situation, where if they still had the belts, they don't, but if they still had the belts, it'd be really cool to see them show up with Impact, or, hell, Ring of Honor's belts. If they just show up at a show, they don't have to participate in anything. They just show up on Raw. They just show up on SmackDown. It would be interesting because it could be like the Kevin Nash, Scott Hall thing, where it was the outsiders like, what are they doing here? Those aren't, those aren't our guys. What are they doing here? So I think that would be interesting.
Oh yeah,
I want it to happen. I would love to see Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy back.
Mm-hmm. So would I.
Hell, if they're getting contracts now, could you imagine? If somehow they show up at WrestleMania,
well, they are going to be there. They are going to be there.
Yeah, everybody's going to be in Orlando,
because they have so many wrestling things going on. Ring of Honor has something going on just before WrestleMania. Yeah. I know the Hardys are actually having a Broken tailgate or something right outside of Camping World Stadium. They've got other stuff going on there. WCPW is going to be there. There's
JR. I don't know if JR is going to be there because we'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, that's sad, but we'll talk about that.
I don't know if he'll be there, but yeah, everybody and their dog is there. Everybody shows up for whatever city they're in.
Because
Mania weekend.
WrestleMania is, it's more than just WWE.
Yeah, everybody rides that idea. I'm telling you, there's something going on, and I don't know, where would you put them? Would you put them on Raw or SmackDown?
I would put them on SmackDown.
That's because we both like SmackDown more. But
no, believe it or not, I think they could put on a great match with the Wyatts. Well, here's the thing. I
don't know if you put that yet.
Yeah, well, maybe start them off on Raw, and then maybe if they have the draft, draft them over to SmackDown later. Are
they going to do that again this year?
I mean, they possibly could, or vice versa. Have them go to SmackDown, have their match with the Wyatts, and then have them get drafted to Raw.
Yeah, but the Wyatts aren't a thing anymore. It's just Bray.
Eric Rowan came back. I think he did.
Well, I mean, Luke Harper's not.
Yeah, that's true.
And Randy's gone, so I don't know. I I don't know where you would put them necessarily, because you've got the Usos, which I don't agree with them being the champions.
I think it was a really interesting kind of turn letting them win 2 weeks before WrestleMania.
Right. Why wouldn't they save that? I don't know. And what's going on with the Raw tag titles for WrestleMania?
Well, the Raw tag team titles right now, the match is set up for the champions Gallows and Anderson facing Enzo and Cass and Cesaro and Sheamus. The rumor right now is they're actually going to let Enzo and Cass finally get their moment.
Yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm. I would like that. But that's the thing, is I couldn't see, because with the Broken Hardys, with that whole gimmick, they're going to show up. They're gonna automatically be competing for the titles. I feel like they're automatically going to be in the title picture because they have every other freaking tag team title imaginable. So I think no matter what, they're going to be competing in that. Mm-hmm. The question is, who can I see them feuding with more? Honestly, it's hard to see them feuding with the Usos, and it's even harder to see them feuding with Enzo and Cass, because Enzo and Cass are such a gimmicky, fun, hokey tag team. It's going to be hard because, yes, the Broken Hardys are funny and gimmicky, but it's different. It's not, I don't know, it's not as in your face.
What if this happens?
It's like B-movie funny versus like an actual comedy. You know what I mean?
I could disagree with you there. What about this? What if, like, say the Hardys do turn up at WrestleMania and maybe attack one of the teams, and then they jump in the match for them? Because they did that at a local event a few months ago and won their tag team titles. I forget who it was, but yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I'm excited to see what happens and what goes forward with all of that.
All right. Well, getting to another point that you probably don't want to talk about, but I think you'll have a good rant about talking about. Goldberg is the Universal Champion. Again, it's been 3 weeks since we've done a podcast, and when last time we did it, Kevin Owens was still the champion. So I'm sure you got a lot to say about Goldberg taking the Red Twizzler title.
I sort of dropped a pipe bomb on Goldberg last week, or last couple weeks, last episode. Here's how I feel about it. Again, why? For me, it shows that WWE has no faith in its talent, and WWE has no faith in its current roster. I feel like, because a guy like Kevin Owens, hell of a worker, great on the mic, can sell. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
He'll be there after WrestleMania.
Yeah, he'll still be there after Mania. He did so much to carry that belt from SummerSlam until Fastlane. I think his run even, I think, was marred by what was happening. I thought him and Jericho was great. Obviously, it was the best thing about Raw. But the way that they treated him after, and the way that they treated him with losing in like a minute.
No, he got squashed in less than 30 seconds.
But to me, it just shows no faith. Because anytime you see a guy, like, I don't understand why you even... If you don't have faith in Kevin Owens, then why do you keep the belt on him all the way until Fastlane and then have him lose to Goldberg, who rarely shows up, who's rarely a part of the show, can't do a promo properly, cuts it, he's not a good wrestler. Goldberg's not a good worker.
I mean,
Owens could have done and worked his ass off to save that match, and Owens could have, because he's that good.
My thing about that too is I've heard over the last few weeks that the Goldberg Lesnar match at WrestleMania for the Universal title is going to be a short match too. They said it's going to go longer than the last few Goldberg matches.
If that's the case, they better put Wyatt Orton on last.
You would think so, but there's also talk about having Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, go on last, because they're saying that it might be his last WrestleMania.
Yeah, because of health issues.
Yep.
But, like, it's just bad. It's just a bad situation. If they thought that was going to sell people more, if that was going to get more people to buy the network, more people to buy tickets, or more people to show up for this thing, that's just silly. Because if they would just understand that to me, the best WrestleManias that I've seen in the last couple years, I think to me, WrestleMania 30 was one of the most satisfying WrestleManias I've ever watched. It was one of the most satisfying endings because, well, thanks to CM Punk, I guess, he helped in a way. But to see Daniel Bryan win that match, have that moment, to see Jericho being the big feud at WrestleMania 33 would have been gratifying. Mm-hmm. It would have been important. You don't even need to put the belt on Jericho. He could lose to Owens. Owens could be the heel winning, and people would still be behind it. In this case, did they not learn 13 years ago with WrestleMania 20 that people don't care about Goldberg and Lesnar together? People don't like it. People don't care because Goldberg is such a terrible worker, and whatever you may think, he was great for his time, but that's like saying, okay, you know what? Like what they tried to do in the summer of Punk in 2011, let's bring in Kevin Nash into this feud because Trips has got to pay his buddy. Got to give him his buddy some cash.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. You know, this is what WWE is going for. They're trying to impress the casual fan because they know that the diehard fans are going to, you know...
Be there no matter what.
Yeah, be there no matter what. It's casual fans, and the thing is, the casual fans, they know wrestlers like Goldberg. They know wrestlers like Brock Lesnar, The Rock, Stone Cold. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why Kevin Nash even, you know, this is why they keep bringing them back. This is why Triple H and The Undertaker are down to like one match a year. Is because they're trying to draw people to WrestleMania rather than, you know, because it's a lot harder to draw a casual fan to another event that they're put on.
But even so, you don't need that though. WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling. People who don't watch wrestling watch WrestleMania because it's such a spectacle, and it's just like the Super Bowl. People who don't give a crap about football will watch the Super Bowl because it's a huge deal. It's a huge spectacle. Yes, for the commercials, and that's free. But still, it's like you don't need to do this. And this is just silly because it just shows me you have no faith in Owens. When you should, though, because Owens, like I said, it's for me the best wrestlers in that company right now are probably Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho, Triple H. Even say what you want about him, he's still a great worker when he gets his opportunity. Like I could name on a short list of who he is. John Cena would be in that as well. As much as people hate John Cena is an excellent worker.
A lot of people don't hate John Cena because of...
It's character.
It's more of... Yeah,
and he wins all
character.
The time.
Yeah. But, yeah, he's a good worker despite what, you know, the smart marks like to say.
I'm telling you, he's one of the best in the business. You agree with me on this?
Yeah, I do.
I just think the whole situation's silly. To me, it's a lose-lose because no matter what, you're going to put the belt on a part-timer. Either Goldberg or Lesnar. It's probably going to be Lesnar.
Nobody's holding money in the bank right now, so...
Exactly. Nobody can cash in and save the match like they did at 31. So... Or 32, because there wasn't the Money in the Bank winner in that. And I was in... And that's the thing. Why do they keep doing this to the Mania main event? Because I was in... the building on last year's WrestleMania. I was in AT&T Stadium. People were bored. First of all, last year's WrestleMania was crap anyway, but people were bored. People weren't into that main event. I don't think people are going to care about this main event because they know it's going to run probably 5 minutes.
Well, speaking of WrestleMania main events, and I don't know if you heard about this, Jake, but they've already have something set up for next year's main event.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
They're saying that the Universal Championship will be on the line. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Which, are they really going to run a year with a part-timer as their Universal Champion?
That's the thing. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's going to drop the title, you know, but then get it back.
Yeah, periodically get it back.
Or maybe Roman Reigns will... hold the title, or get the title.
Yeah, he'll be champion.
Yeah, going in. Yeah, I don't know, but a lot of people are pissed off about that.
I don't understand why WWE keeps trying to make Roman Reigns the next John Cena.
Now they're saying that he's kind of that he's going to be pushed into that spot because John Cena, he said that he's going away after WrestleMania because he's got a couple movies to shoot.
But that's the thing, they don't need... Here's the thing about John Cena. and his situation. He's in the twilight of his career. He's going off to make movies. He's going off to be in TV shows. He's going off, which is funny because you notice once that was said, he apologized to The Rock. Mm-hmm. Which I knew he would. I was like, once he gets where The Rock was in his career and realize, hey, I can make a lot of money doing something else and not putting my body on the line. As much as you love the business, you're going to leave it. That being said, sorry, I digressed a tad. Cena's in the twilight of his career. Cena's going to be gone soon. I don't know when, where he's going to officially become a part-timer, when he's officially going to be gone, but it's coming soon. Mm-hmm. And they have the talent. They have the guys there to take that place. Roman Reigns is not one of them. Seth Rollins is, maybe. Kevin
AJ
Owens
Styles.
is. AJ Styles. And I'll get to freaking AJ Styles about how he was treated.
Bray Wyatt, I even think, could take that spot.
Maybe. I could see that, yeah. I just don't think Bray is the best worker. I think he's gotten better.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think he's the best in-ring guy. Mike skills, he's perfect, but...
They pulled the trigger on Finn Balor, and that would have worked out great if he didn't get injured.
Yeah, Finn Balor is someone. I hope this isn't Undertaker's last WrestleMania. I mean, health-wise, if he can't go another one, fine. But imagine, just put this in your brain. WrestleMania 34. Put it in your brain. Close your eyes. Imagine it. Imagine Finn Balor's entrance. Amped up to 11 for WrestleMania. You see that. And then right after that, you see Undertaker's entrance. Those two gimmicks, the Demon, the Dead Man, those two gimmicks going at it. And Balor's good enough, he could work around Undertaker's age.
Oh, I know.
I don't think Roman can in this match. I'm not saying Roman's a bad wrestler. I think he isn't awful. But he just, I don't know. To me, he's not the level of a Rollins or a Balor or Owens who can switch up their style and be different, and you know what I mean?
Here's the thing about big men, including Roman Reigns. I don't know if maybe it's Vince, but like they have him so limited down to like a few big moves.
It's the Superman punch and spear. That's his whole move.
But then you look at Goldberg. What is his? Spear, jackhammer. You look at Brock Lesnar, suplex, F5. You look at Big Show, WMD, choke slam. Even Undertaker.
Undertaker is
he's got a couple.
He's
more.
the most diverse of the big men.
I mean, he's probably got about 4, but
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, most of these big guys only have, like, 2 wrestling moves that they're really known for, where it's like these small guys who can, put it together in the ring, and tell an incredible story. They have more, they have, like, a huge list of moves in their arsenal.
So, what would you think if we get a WrestleMania 31 rematch at WrestleMania 34?
I think it's going to piss a lot of people off.
You would be included?
It would piss me off. I actually hung on to Roman Reigns for a while, believe it or not. For the longest time, for like 2011, all the way until Seth Rollins won the belt.
So you were behind him even in the NXT days?
Not in the. I'll get to
FCW.
No. I'm talking about main roster here. So from
2012 is Survivor Series 2012. Yeah.
But anyway, from 2011 to WrestleMania 31, which was 2015, I believe.
Yep.
Every champion, or they didn't have anybody who they put the belt on that was new, who hasn't held the belt before. The last one they had that was brand new was Alberto Del Rio, when they put the WWE title on him. But ever since
for like
then,
2 weeks,
right?
Punk won it back.
But ever since then, between those 4 years, it was always somebody who's held the belt before, because it's like they didn't put any faith in their new talent. But and this is why, like, I was okay with Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble in 2015, even though he stunk up the place. He was somebody new. He at the time he didn't have the belt.
So you were completely okay with Daniel Bryan not winning that.
I wanted to see the Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar match. But I also, like I said, I didn't mind them trying to, put faith into somebody new. The problem with that is it was so blatant that you could tell that the WWE was trying to push this person down your throat.
Well, yeah, I mean, they even trolled you in the Are you watching the spinner? They even trolled you in the Royal Rumble with the Shattered Dreams when Daniel Bryan got eliminated early.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought when he came in at 10, I was like, oh, perfect. They're going to even play up more of his underdog thing and make him, go over and all that. But yeah, it was blatant and all of that. And they did the John Cena approach. They sold him to kids. They pushed him to kids. And so that was your breaking point. Because I've always thought with the Shield, I thought he was the least talented of the three.
Oh, by far.
Seth was the best, and Ambrose is a close second. But
he was the big bodyguard man,
Yeah, he was the big gun, which is fine. And I think he should have stayed that way. I think he should have gotten into a tag team or something where he... Because the minute... And it's not... His promos were not his fault. His promos
were written out,
were given to him, and that's what he had to do with. And that's why I don't think WWE needs 28 writers to do a show.
Especially, you look at the Attitude Era, and almost nothing was scripted. Yeah. I mean, when it came to promos.
You look at the greats. You look at The Rock. You look at Stone Cold. You look at John Cena, CM Punk. Like, the best on the mic, they did it themselves. They created that personality, and I think they didn't give... the problem was they didn't give Roman enough time to let himself grow and be his own character. He was 100% manufactured by management, by Vince and the writers, and I think it didn't come off genuine, like you just said, and I think that's the problem. And I think that's why he shouldn't be in the Mania main event unless they turn him heel.
Oh yeah, I think he can work out really well as a heel.
People already hate him.
I didn't. Okay, I'll be honest. I don't keep up with NXT as much as I should.
I don't either.
But I did look at some of Roman Reigns' work when he was in FCW, NXT, and he was a heel, and he worked out great. He was like the stereotypical, like, hey, I'm better than you, this is my time, I don't have to make time for you kind of guy, and I thought that was great. The problem with it is when you tried to turn that into a good guy, not genuinely, kind of turned out to leave a sour taste in people's mouths.
Yeah, he's not a good tweener either, if you want to even put him in that. So I don't think it should work. Who knows? It's a rumor. Nobody knows. And there's a lot of time between this Mania and the next. So I wouldn't put any... I wouldn't put it past WWE, but I wouldn't also put all the outrage on that.
I'm thinking like they got to do something more genuine, because Finn Balor... Like I said, his push that lasted a month before he got injured, I honestly think that was a lot more genuine, even though it was only like a month time span of him getting called up and then him winning the title.
Yeah, but
it was genuine.
Yeah, people loved him.
Yeah.
And his match with Rollins was great, despite screwing up his shoulder halfway through.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That is something that people need. It was you're right, it was organic, and it felt good. Like Daniel Bryan's rise. People love Daniel Bryan because it was such an organic moment. It was such an organic movement. People just latched onto this guy because they believed in him. People don't believe. Even it's not Roman's fault. It's WWE's fault.
Even John Cena, even though a lot of people have mixed feelings about him now, his rise to the top was super genuine. They just left him there too long.
When he finally won the title, him and Batista, when they both won the world titles at WrestleMania 21, that was a genuine, natural build. It's just it doesn't seem like WWE does that. They try to fast track things way too much, and I think that's the current problem with the product and why people don't get behind new superstars as much. Kevin Owens is gotten over as a heel because he does what he wants, because he's Dean Ambrose for a while was the hottest thing in wrestling organically. And then they screwed that up. You want to talk about someone who was mistreated for a title reign? He was the biggest afterthought WWE World Heavyweight Champion I've seen in a long time. His win was awesome. The cash in on Rollins right away to cash in and win the belt that night. Genius.
Having all three Shield members hold the belt in one night.
That was amazing.
I thought that was cool.
But yeah.
But I mean, we'll see how things go.
Get Lesnar off my TV, by the way. Brock Lesnar is with Goldberg, the most overrated, overblown. Ever since, to me, Brock Lesnar was fine. Didn't mind him. The whole Suplex City bitch, like the Suplex City thing was fine. It's still okay. But for me, what really turned me off to Brock Lesnar and continues to do it, this guy, you continue to do all these things for him, and he doesn't care about the business. He doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't care about anything. He wants a payday, and he got popped for PEDs in UFC, so he quits, air quotes, MMA because he got caught cheating. Comes back to this, won't work with Ambrose, wouldn't put Ambrose over, wouldn't even shake his freaking hand, wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't put him over. And that street fight, I was thinking, you know what, this card itself isn't that great, but this street fight, this is going to be enough to make me happy.
Yeah.
Garbage.
It was.
Garbage.
I honestly think with how you know,
didn't even have to put Ambrose over. Just make a good match.
Well, yeah, but with how deranged Dean Ambrose is, you would think like there would have been like some pretty cool spots in there. Like, you know, he had a freaking chainsaw and a barbed wire bat. I mean, obviously they're not going to use the chainsaw, but you know, he had a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat. Like, they could have done so much with that. But I don't know, it just really fell flat. And the last match, it seemed, it's just, Lesnar doesn't give a crap at all.
And he's overrated, overblown. The last good Lesnar match was the triple threat at the Royal Rumble before 31, I think. Yeah, before WrestleMania 31, the Royal Rumble, with Cena, Rollins, and Lesnar. And that match only worked because Rollins and Cena bumped their asses off and did the best to make that match work.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't Lesnar. That being said, enough of moving forward to less in-ring stuff, more out-of-ring stuff. So two stories. There we go. Words are hard, man. Two stories that came out the last couple weeks outside of the ring.
Should we talk about the more uncomfortable one first?
Well, they're both pretty uncomfortable. They're both sad. In a way. Well, Paige, we all know, Paige had a sex tape come out. It was good for me, because I always thought Paige was attractive. And I'm a man, so I watched it. But, no.
No comment.
It's extremely unfortunate for her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the year that Paige has had, it's the most unfortunate thing ever. She's been suspended twice. The last time she had a match, I believe, was July 20-something. It was
because she's been injured and had all these suspensions.
Yeah, the one good thing that's been happening with her is that movie that The Rock is making. You know, Fighting with My Family.
Yep, and who knows where that's going to go now?
Right. Well, it looks like on the bright side with this, WWE might be treating this as like Seth Rollins.
They did. They're not going to take any action.
Yeah, which is good. I think it's smart
because she's a victim here. She didn't do this. She didn't deserve how this happened.
She did the videos, but I'm sure a lot of people have embarrassing stuff that they wouldn't want.
Yeah. And
out there,
the whole situation, and I'm glad they haven't punished Xavier Woods either, because he did make a joke about it himself, which is pretty funny. Because he wasn't at a couple house shows last week, but he was doing South by Southwest gaming award show. He was co-hosting it, and first thing he says, like, there was like, we're trying to show you how great games are and how fun they are, and he goes, so just kick back, kick your feet up, relax, and delete your Twitter. So they all had a laugh about it. And then I think Monday night they made a joke about it too. Because he's standing there and Kofi and Big E are looking at him and they're like, hey. They're looking at him. He's kind of sitting there like, do you have anything you want to tell us? And he goes, WrestleMania. And they jokingly acknowledge it. So he shouldn't get punished either.
Oh, no, not at all.
Because at the end of the day, these are people. And people have sex. There's no getting around it. These people tend to forget that these huge superstars are these big deals, but they're
human beings. Yeah.
People do this. In my personal belief, and this goes to politics and anything with my life, what a person does in their own personal bedrooms or their own personal house, whatever they want to do, as long as it doesn't hurt other people, they can do whatever they want. Whoever leaked this, who's ever responsible, I don't know if it is Brad Maddox. Nothing's coming out to say that he did or didn't do it. Whoever leaked it, come on. Like they don't understand the serious professional ramifications that could have happened to her. Luckily, WWE's not going to do anything about it because they know she's the victim and it's an unfortunate thing. If they would have fired her, which they probably would have if Seth Rollins' thing didn't happen, because then they would be hypocritical and considered maybe sexist. And they're like, we'll fire her, but he gets a main event push,
right?
You know, so I think good on them for not doing anything because she was a victim, and I don't know, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That being said, don't put stuff on your phone.
Yeah. Anybody could get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Get a hold of that, yeah.
Regardless if you may delete it or something, people will try to get things out of you if they can. So
yeah, it's just kind of a sad situation. But
I feel bad for her and Alberto because that's his fiance and he's got to deal with that too. So
I'm sure it'll be. I mean, she was like what 21 at the time when all those were taken.
Yeah,
those were
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Which makes me think NXT days must be wild because they were all in NXT at that time. I think no, Brad Maddox was maybe being on the.
Yeah, Brad Maddox was,
but
because
Xavier wasn't. So crazy, wild NXT days, huh? That being said, I think Paige will be fine. I don't know when she's going to come back. I don't know when that's going to happen, but she's got the movie and everything. So hopefully they take legal action and they get their money.
I hope so too. Well, let's head to a little bit more sad news.
Yeah. One of the greatest of all time in commentary, good old JR. Fortunately, his wife passed away last week because of a car accident.
Yeah, I was really sad when I heard that. I've looked up to JR for some time now, and and I just can't imagine what he's going through. You know, I mean, he's already had a pretty tough life. You know, dealing with Bell's palsy and
And they, the way that he talks about her, he truly loved her a lot, and it's a very sad thing because JR is kind of one of those guys who's so honest and open. It's like you knew him the way that he was, and I my heart goes out to them.
And mine too.
I'm not really a religious man, but. Thoughts and prayers usually is what people say in these situations.
Yeah, and God bless JR.
Yeah, he'll get through it.
Oh, I know he will.
Because he's a great guy, but that's unfortunate.
It really is.
Back to wrestling. So, what else do you want to talk about today, Sean?
Well, a few other matches have been set up for WrestleMania. Obviously.
Oh, and I also predict the other reason why I'm champion is you stare into your title that you wish you had. I also, in a way, until they announced that Nia Jax got added, I called the triple threat for the Raw Women's title. So
yeah, they just the Bayley versus Sasha versus Charlotte for the Raw Women's title was announced shortly after Fastlane. Then Nia Jax got added. So it's now a fatal four-way for the Raw Women's Championship. Now it's going to be interesting to see where this goes because, first of all, it's not going to be like what we thought. Like maybe this is going to be when Charlotte loses her pay-per-view streak. Well, that happened at Fastlane now. Are they going to still play hot potato with the belt, or is Bayley actually going to walk out with the Raw Women's Championship?
That's the thing. I don't know. I really don't know. That's so. I criticize them for playing hot potato, but in a way, it helps because now I really don't know who's going to win the belt.
Well, and it was a great story build, to be honest, because it was like, hey, Sasha has what it takes, but Charlotte's going to win on the pay-per-view. That's why the hot potato between those two was kind of a lot more interesting. Yes, it irritated people, but at the same time, there was a good reason behind it.
Yeah, and I think, for it, to me, I think it was one of the best rivalries of the past year, Sasha and Charlotte. I think this is where you start to see the cracks. I think you've already seen the seeds being planted, but I think Sasha's officially going to turn heel.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to screw over Bayley. And I don't know how you would screw one over in a fatal four-way, but something will happen.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to pull the ultimate swerve, and Nia Jax wins. I think might...
Please, no.
No. I don't know. To me, I think there's two people I see winning. That's Charlotte or Sasha. I think they're going to take the belt off Bayley.
I don't think so. I mean, we're not going to do our predictions until this upcoming Saturday. But
I just don't think she has enough. I don't want to say star power because she definitely has a following. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they wouldn't have put the belt on her if she didn't. But at the same time, she doesn't have that star power that Sasha or Charlotte have. Mm-hmm. That, granted, she hasn't been on the main roster as long, but I don't know. I just think it's going to be Sasha or Charlotte. Do they reignite the rivalry? I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do.
I personally could see a Sasha Bayley rivalry coming out of this.
Yeah, I could see that too with Sasha turning heel. Mm-hmm. I want them to get weird with this. I want them to use chairs because it's no DQ. I want to see women do stuff that men do. They already did the Hell in a Cell.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see women do more of what men do. So I want to see some... I know if we don't word this right, someone's going to clip out a soundbite. I want to see women get hit by chairs. I want to see women just beating each other up. But
I think you already gave them a reason to now.
Well, there you go. But I mean... I think that's the ultimate sign of respect to these women, saying that they can do everything the men can do.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see some chair shots. I want to see some crazy spots. And to be honest with you, that triple threat last year was one of the shining moments of last year's WrestleMania.
By far. That was
a great match.
That and Taker Shane was probably the two best.
You've seen that in person in the arena, in the stadium, I guess, because AT&T, but... Seeing that was nuts.
Oh,
and yeah. It was fun. But
those are the only two, real highlights that came out of Mania 32 and Zack Ryder winning the
for a
title.
Day.
It was still a good moment.
I liked that, yeah.
But anyway.
It was a swerve for sure. I
didn't see that coming. But, with those three out of 12? Something like that. Yeah, that wasn't really good. But, getting back to the women, this has a potential, I think, to steal the show.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean,
not
they
because
did last year, but
because of the other three.
Yeah, just take out Becky. That being said, what do you think of the SmackDown situation?
Shane McMahon, AJ Styles.
No, before that, I want to talk about the women. The SmackDown.
Oh yeah, yes.
I don't like it.
I think it's an interesting concept. I know why Daniel Bryan said, Alexa Bliss is putting her title on the line against every available woman on the SmackDown roster because they want to leave the door open if Alexa Bliss can make it, because it is her hometown, and if that's the case, she is going to be walking out with the championship.
You really think so?
I do. Because Naomi... They
only put the belt back on her because Naomi got injured, though.
Yeah, but if Naomi comes back, they're going to put it back on her, I think.
That's what we said about Finn Balor. So,
but he hasn't came
officially.
Yeah, he's only been back at house shows.
I'm doing what John Cena used to do sometimes. But he put it around his neck.
You are too attached to that.
I'm going to put it away because it's heavy. I don't like it because we've seen this before at WrestleMania 30 with AJ Lee, unless they got to do it a different way. Mm-hmm. Because the way that they did it at WrestleMania 30 with AJ Lee, where every woman was in the freaking ring and it was just convoluted and confusing, they really didn't give out the proper rules of what's going on in the match and what's going on. If it's like an elimination style, if it's like a championship scramble, so whoever scores a pin, they're champion, but if somebody else pins them, you know what I mean? It's a weird, difficult concept.
I don't
know how they're going to pull it off.
Here's another thing. I don't know how they're going to pull that off either. But another winner wise, if Naomi doesn't come back, it's going to be Mickie James. I think. I really could see that happening, especially with the cracks unraveling with them.
I think that would be a solid rivalry. But what do you do with Becky? What do you do with? And is Nikki going to show up as a surprise because she's technically available for the match? I mean, she has the tag match, but is she going to pull double duty and just show up towards the end?
I don't think so.
I just think it's a lot. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. I'm sure they will because SmackDown seems to figure it out when they have really weird, stupid matches. So,
well, you know what I could also see, and a lot of people are probably going to think that this isn't going to happen, but it's a possibility, and I haven't heard anybody else predict this yet. But what if on NXT TakeOver the night before, Asuka loses the Women's Championship, the NXT Women's Championship, or it doesn't? and then comes to the SmackDown match on the main roster.
That would be a cool moment. That'd be interesting. I'd like that.
Because remember, that could happen either way. Because remember, Paige did hold both titles at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
could happen. Well, if anything, I don't think she'll show up until the day after, the Monday after Mania.
But Asuka's been down there for a while now, and she's been champion for a while. I think she could.
Who knows? It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm into that. Go ahead.
I was gonna bring it over now to AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. This one I've been actually really looking forward to talking about.
As much as I like SmackDown, and much I think it's better than Raw right now. Because I think the thing that is, to me, what caught me was what Daniel Bryan said when he became GM, when this whole thing started, the whole brand split, which, by the way, stick to the brand split. Don't merge again. I love the brand split. When it first happened, I've always liked the brand split because when you have these separate storylines, you have these separate things going on, it's to me a better product for you. Because then you can join sides. You'd be like, I don't feel like watching Raw on Monday, but I'm definitely going to watch SmackDown on Tuesday, whatever. That being said, I think they've done great, except I think they missed an opportunity. I think the plan that I had, where it was going to be Styles, Orton, Wyatt in the triple threat main event, I mean, to be honest, though, whatever SmackDown does with their main event for their title, it's going to be infinitely better than what Raw does with Lesnar and Goldberg. So, I mean, there's that. I just don't feel like they're using AJ in the proper way. All due respect to Shane. He's a great... He can sell. He's great at selling moves, but he's not the best technical wrestler because he's not a wrestler. So,
well, here's the thing with them. I mean, I do think if you have to put Shane McMahon in a match, putting him against AJ Styles is amazing. But on the other hand,
I didn't put AJ on the best wrestlers in the world list earlier. He's definitely in there. He's in the top 5.
Oh yeah, but putting AJ Styles, there are a lot more people you could have put him in the ring with. You could have put him in the ring with Shinsuke Nakamura. You could have put him in the ring with The Undertaker. You could have had a rematch against John Cena.
Yeah.
You could have had, you could have put him in the WWE bout with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. There are just so many, but that's the thing. And with there being so much you can do with him, I'm not totally against him versus AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon, because I do know Shane McMahon can put on a hell of a match, despite not being a full-time active wrestler. Every match that he's put on, he's gone above and beyond to work his ass off in that ring. And that's why I think AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon is... I also think that has the potential to steal the show, for one. And for two, I don't think it was a terrible move. I just think... I agree with you, though, where I do think... AJ Styles could have been in,
I'm telling
infinitely more matches than him.
If they would clear him, I would spend all of the money in the world to see Styles Bryan.
Oh,
AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan.
Hell yeah.
If that were really the choice... but being what it is, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a bad match. I don't know if it has. I don't know if it'll steal the show per se.
Oh, I think it could. It has AJ Styles.
I think it has. I think it has the potential. Yeah, it does have AJ Styles, but I think. I don't know, the way that they've kind of put him in the last two Manias. I don't know, losing to Jericho, and then I don't think he'll lose to Shane. But the fact that he wasn't in the main event and they just give Orton the main event, even though he technically won it and relinquished it, but whatever. I just...
That's the thing, he relinquished it.
That's the thing, though. You could have made a more compelling triple threat, because you could have that argument saying Styles is like, I deserve to be here. This is my main event, blah, blah, blah. And then you could have Orton be like, you don't understand. This is personal. I'm after Wyatt. And meanwhile, Wyatt's like, well, I could just be champion. Let these two argue. Like, there's so many different storylines you could have gone with that. That's just where I stand on it. I don't think it'll be a bad match. I think it'll be a good one. What spot is Shane going to do is the real question.
Coast to coast, obviously.
Yeah, that or the elbow drop onto a table or some crazy nonsense like that, which is fine. It's always fun, but I don't know. It'll work though, because Styles is so over. The first time I've ever heard Daniel Bryan booed in a long, long time is when he quote unquote fired AJ Styles, and Styles is a heel.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it'll be a good match. I just feel like Styles probably should have been in a different situation. I'm not like angry about it, but I don't know.
Well, moving on, let's go back to Raw and talk about one of their mid-card bouts, which you've said on numerous occasions that this should be the main event. Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the WWE United States Championship.
Yeah, and here's why it should be, because those two did so much storytelling. Well, they didn't, since SummerSlam. They have done so much to build that storyline, the Jericho thing, and they did easily the best thing on Raw. Should be the main event, because it is what drives Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah, the by far that's the only thing that I think kept a lot of people watching throughout the months after the brand split.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm not upset about how Jericho's come out on this because he's a veteran. He's done amazing things for this company. But again, it just goes back to the Kevin Owens thing. I have always been a huge Kevin Owens fan. I've always liked what he's been able to do. I feel like his rivalry with... You want to talk about somebody who gets screwed consistently, it's Sami Zayn. I think like that rivalry had such a good payoff. But then, like... It just didn't, I don't know. It just didn't feel like there was enough more. There could have been more. They could have milked more months out of that. And then with the Jericho thing, that was so ham-fisted at the end because of the Goldberg storyline. If Goldberg doesn't get involved, I'm not saying that the Festival Friendship thing didn't work. Like, it was impactful. It was important. It was like, shit, it finally happened. I didn't think it was going to happen. It, the list of KO, all that. It worked perfectly well for when it worked, but then it's felt ham-fisted because of the Goldberg stuff. It didn't. It was good, but it should have worked better. Is what I'm trying to say. And that match doesn't have. It's for the United States Championship. Does not have as much weight as if it would have been like a unification match for both titles.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. Like, that would have been cool. That would have been something interesting, and that could have given Raw the edge. Right now, I think SmackDown has a much better card on their side of the Mania card. Because you got Orton and Wyatt. You got the, Styles, Shane, and there's a couple, Usos and American Alpha have been putting on great matches. They're going to compete again.
Oh, yeah. And even the mixed tag team match, like I said last time.
Amazing job those guys did of selling that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I didn't want to see Cena versus Miz. Even adding, Maurice and Nikki Bella to the match. I think that was, when I first heard that, I'm like, ugh. But the way they put that match together.
Yeah, and the skit they did last week was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was just great. But yeah, I completely agree with you. SmackDown has the leading edge because right now the matches right now that Raw have going for them, if you ask me, are mainly right now.
Oh yeah,
Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens, and also Neville versus Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight title, which that's insane because the cruiser we don't normally talk about.
Yeah, they made us, like you said before we went on the air, they made it worry about it because Austin Aries and Neville, are you kidding me? In the same ring? Like, those two together? Those guys are insane. And, like, that is cool. And I dig that. And I like that a lot, too. Raw has that going for it. But just overall, this match should have been so much more than it is.
I agree.
I think it's going to be an amazing... I cannot stress it enough. It will be probably the best match on the card because those two are so great. But it's always going to have that asterisk next to it because if Kevin Owens is probably going to go over because Jericho's got a tour coming up, so he's probably going to be done.
And even if Jericho does go over, because I have heard that he's at least going to be there throughout April and May is when he's going, so he could potentially
possibly do
drop the title like a month later, but yeah, I mean, it's just so unfortunate the fact that they don't get the opportunity to have the main event.
Yeah. Instead, we got to give this stupid Lesnar Goldberg. Why couldn't that be in the mid card? Why couldn't that be for the freaking United States Championship? And whatever you may say with like Jericho made it matter. Yes, he did. Jericho added some star power to the United States Championship. But then WWE continues to get in its own way and say, you know what? It doesn't matter that much because Goldberg and Lesnar, man, that's the match. That's the match. Stop selling me Lesnar. Stop selling me Goldberg. Mm-hmm. They're overrated. They're slow. They can't work. That match will be 5 minutes. You know what? I guarantee you that Kevin Owens and Jericho are going to put on like a 30-minute masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to just feel, oh, yeah, well, it could have been for the big title. Could have closed out the night. But no, we get stuck with it in the mid-card.
But
stupid.
You know what? That's just going to make, I think that's going to bring people to want to watch the entire show because, a lot of people, I'm sure there's a lot of people here just like watching the main event. Well, if they see how good of a match that Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens can put on, they'll watch that match and they'll watch it throughout the entire.
You think The Rock will show up? He hasn't announced it. It's in Orlando. He lives in Miami.
Well, no, he lives in Hollywood, but The Rock...
I'm sure he has multiple houses. The dude is rich.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sure he'll show up because he can't. He showed up. He showed up at 31 without without an announcement.
Yeah, he showed up at 32. So
I believe 30. He didn't announce it either.
He had like an Instagram post like right before the show, but everybody knew that it was going to be Stone Cold was going to be there. They didn't know The Rock would come out.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll probably show up and cut a promo or something and be cool about it. But
maybe have another minute match or whatever he had like with Eric Rowan last year.
I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah.
There's so many opportunities that were missed. With Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
It still hurts, man. I'll get over it.
So
far, do you think that great match would make it worth it? Like actually seeing that match, knowing that it's going to be like this great match. Do you think that would be enough to just?
Oh yeah, by far. I think this does make the United States Championship matter, and that's probably one of the good things that's coming out of this because, the U.S. title. It really has. Especially after the brand split. It felt like before the end of the brand split last time, the U.S. and the Intercontinental felt like they were on equal playing fields. Mm-hmm. But after
the Baron Corbin's Ambrose rivalry is bad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
getting to that though, but after that, it kind of felt like the WWE title was obviously the top, then the Intercontinental, then the United States, which is kind of the truth because honestly, the Intercontinental, I'd rather be Intercontinental champion than United States champion myself. But I think this kind of makes it matter, and it's the funny thing about this is. You have two Canadians competing for the United States Championship belt. It's great.
They should have named it the Canadian Championship, but whatever.
But I honestly think that this probably has the potential to this is probably the Raw match you're going to want to watch. Because honestly, the other big Raw match besides the Universal Championship is Undertaker versus Roman Reigns, which we've talked about that. Yeah. There could have been so many better opponents you could have put against the Undertaker than Roman Reigns. I know Undertaker wants to give his last match to somebody who's younger and whatnot, but
Finn Balor, 34.
Yep.
What if he shows up somehow in some capacity?
I think he will. I think he's gonna get involved some way, and I hate to say this, but I honestly think if he's gonna get involved, since he hasn't came back to the main roster yet, it's probably gonna be in the Andre the Memorial. Battle Royal. But if he won that, that'd be kind of cool,
I think the cool thing would be. Call me crazy. This is the only way, in my mind, to save Goldberg and Lesnar. Balor shows up at the end, attacks one of them, and says, "I'm getting back my title that I never lost." And then it's like, what?
Maybe
we haven't talked about Seth Rollins, Triple H.
That's right. Right now, that's set up as it's actually not on the card yet, but they're saying that they want to make it an unsanctioned match. Which, what does that really mean anyway? Does that mean? Like what Shawn Michaels and Triple H did back in 2002?
Yeah, the street fight.
Yeah.
Unsanctioned street fight. Well, whatever they do, I think that'll be a good match regardless.
Oh, yeah.
Pedigree versus pedigree.
And what are they going to do with Samoa Joe?
I don't know. That's a good question. Who knows? Maybe... I don't know. The point is this. They screwed it up. Goldberg sucks. There, I said it. So that wraps up the second episode of Get Slammed.
We will be doing predictions later this week. Sorry this one came online a little bit late. Sorry we've been gone a few weeks, Again, vacation, and just busyness, But we will be back with predictions. I can't guarantee it, but we might try to add a few more people to the predictions bout that me and Jake are going to have.
We'll try to set up a live stream on the YouTube. Not promising anything because I don't know how to do that. So
I'll look into it though. Champ.
We'll try to do that.
Champ for less than another week.
Hope you know I will be wearing this belt. If we do a live stream, I will be wearing this championship belt.
It's the spinner belt.
It's the spinner belt. It's on my Instagram, @LumberJake, if you want to give that a like and respect the Get Slammed prediction champion. And, go watch some wrestling. WWE screwed up. Goldberg sucks.